Hello, fellow historians. We are here on Route 80 West in Paterson, New Jersey, recording history, listening to the news broadcast as I take you with me, driving along the highways and byways of northern New Jersey. These videos will become more important as years go by as we record today's daily snippet, July 19th, 2024. I thank you for joining. I thank you for listening.
WINS FM in HD1 New York.
Here we go.
Always live on the free Odyssey.
There's Garrett Mountain.
Winds use time 6:59. Checking 1010 winds, AccuWeather. Well, at least the weather's cooperating today. Going to be really nice. Sunny, gorgeous, low humidity, the high 84. Partly cloudy tonight, low 70. Tomorrow, not so humid. Lots of clouds and sun. Then a shower can't be ruled out, mainly to the north and west, high 85. Sunday looks good too. Sun and clouds into high 86. Looks like it might be a bit more humid by the time we get to Monday. Right now, 67 degrees, going up to 84 in Midtown. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Phil Pilato's our service aide, Walter Geis is our writer, Jim Maloney is the editor, and I'm Kathleen Marple-Kalb.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good morning, 67 degrees. It is 7 o'clock on this Friday, July 19th. I'm Susan Richard. Here's what's happening. A massive IT outage causes problems for airlines, banks, stores, hospital, and more worldwide. We'll have the latest. Donald Trump accepts the GOP nomination for president and recounts nearly getting killed.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight.
A recap of his speech coming up. Word that President Biden may be getting the message from fellow Democrats that it's time to drop out of the race. The Queens man accused of posing as a priest in order to rob churches is now back in New York City after being arrested in California. And it's cute overload at the Bronx Zoo. We'll explain. In sports, second round of the British Open underway in Scotland. The Yanks today host Tampa. The Mets are on the road in Miami. AccuWeather's good. Mostly sunny. The high 84. Winds news time 7:01. Traffic and transit with Karen Stewart.
We're going to Queens first. We've got a couple of things that I need to tell you about. First, the Bell Parkway, westbound near the Van Wyck. We've got an accident there. The left and center lanes are blocked. We've even flown overhead of this accident on the westbound belt of the Van Wyck Expressway. Believe it or not, traffic's not bad into the area. Remember, it's Friday. We always have light to the normal traffic on Fridays. That's more than likely the reason there. But again, the left and centers are blocked near the Van Wyck on the westbound belt. Then we've got two issues on the Cross Island Parkway still. Northbound, north of Northern Boulevard, there's a disabled SUV blocking the right lane, and a broken down vehicle just north of that at Bayside Marina. It's a broken down Toyota Camry, if you want to be specific about things. And we are delayed almost back to the Grand Central Parkway, so please instead take Bell Boulevard or Springfield Boulevard. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. We're gaining volume here at the inbound Hudson, but the Lincoln's still only 15. The Holland is still only 20, but the inbound side of the George Washington Bridge is about 20 to a 25-minute delay. And on Long Island, the westbound LIE at exit 51 for Deer Park Avenue. We have an accident there that's causing delays. You can take the Northern State there instead. Your Odyssey Lottery recap is presented by Jackpocket. Powerball's 91 million and Mega's 251 million. Order official state lottery games on your phone. You must be 18 or older to play. And if you have a gambling problem and need help, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. From the Farmers Dog Traffic Center, fresh human-grade dog food delivered right to your door. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Travel trouble this morning at the area airports and beyond. In fact, the Port Authority says individual airline ground stops are possible at all three of our major airports this morning. This after American, Delta, and United are back in action after temporarily halting flights due to a system-wide computer outage. Frontier Airlines, Allegiant, and Sun Country were also affected, and there's more.
The cancellations and delays are now affecting Spirit Airline passengers here.
It's canceled. They canceled it like 20 minutes before the flight.
There is a long line to check in since kiosks are down, so passengers are being checked in manually, and many are extremely frustrated with the lack of communication.
I don't even know when I'll make it home now, if that's the case.
Oh, you're trying to head home?
Yeah.
Where do you live?
Nashville.
Other passengers are stranded with vacation plans ruined.
Orlando.
And how does this inconvenience your trip? Like, did you book a hotel?
We booked the hotel, we booked the Universal tickets, and now we lost everything.
Astrid Martinez, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM in LaGuardia.
CrowdStrike says they're the ones having the issue, but that it is not a security incident or a cyber attack. Meantime, it's not just air travel that's been affected.
A massive IT outage has halted operations for banks, airlines, and computer systems worldwide. This relates to computers using Microsoft software and the cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. Multiple airlines issued ground stops Friday morning. American Airlines tells CBS News in a statement they're working with CrowdStrike to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Across the globe, stores and airports also taking the hit. The Secretary of Transportation posted on social media that they're monitoring the flight cancellation and delay issue.
That's correspondent Jared Hill. New York City's Chief Technology Officer Matthew Frazier telling ABC News workers were able to get key operations running for the city. He also explained the problem in more detail. Basically, a bad update.
Between midnight and 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time, deployed an update. That update, once deployed, caused a number of Windows-based workstations to go offline or crash, critically fail. And in order to do a restoration, it requires someone to manually touch each one of those workstations.
Basic New York City services are operating, including 911 and 311, but city agencies are having some difficulty accessing many of their functions controlled by Microsoft 365. As always, stay with 1010 Wins for the very latest. In what was the longest convention speech in modern history, Donald Trump recounts nearly getting killed and then reiterates some familiar themes as he accepted his party's nomination for president.
First, a personal story of survival in the face of a would-be assassin.
I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell.
Donald Trump spoke with a weariness to open his acceptance speech, telling the crowd,
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
He knew that once he rose up after being shot, that the crowd thought he was dead.
There was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it. I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay.
After thanking the Secret Service and honoring the other victims, he began his real campaign speech.
The Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy.
And Trump said the Democrats are destroying the country before diving into the issues. The economy and immigration got the bulk of his attention.
We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it.
He called the immigration crisis a massive invasion. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, as part of his immigration agenda, the former president promised that he would oversee the largest deportation operation in U.S. history, and he falsely claimed that migrants are killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. The reaction from the Biden campaign
is that this was just more of the same. I mean, they say that Donald Trump talked a lot about himself here, but he wasn't offering much for the future of the country to the American people and voters. And they say critically that they didn't hear Trump make any real appeal to those critical moderate voters. As one Biden advisor put it to me, he said, this is the greatest hits of 2016. Donald Trump has not changed. He has only gotten worse.
That's correspondent Mary Bruce. As President Biden isolates at his Delaware home due to COVID, there is word that he appears to be getting the message from fellow Democrats that it's time to drop out of the race. In fact, CBS News, quoting two senior House Democrats, is saying they believe Mr. Biden could announce an exit in just days.
Montana Senator John Tester facing a tough re-election fight, adding to the chorus of voices, now up to at least 23 congressional Democrats encouraging the president to bow out. Sources now telling ABC News the president has grown more receptive to hearing out calls for him to end his candidacy. It comes as we learn more about closed-door meetings between the president and top Democrats. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer presenting Biden with polling data showing he could drag down the party in Congress.
That's correspondent Andrew Dimbert. The president has reportedly been asking for polling on how Kamala Harris would do if she were atop the ticket. A new CBS poll has Donald Trump expanding his lead over Joe Biden among likely voters, Trump leading 52 to 47%. Mr. Biden doing a little bit better in battleground states, but he was still behind 51-48. The Biden campaign, meantime, will reportedly call an all-staff meeting today. As the House Oversight Committee gets ready for Monday's hearing into the Trump assassination attempt, some new info about the run-up to the rally in Butler, PA.
An individual using the name Thomas Matthew Crooks, the same as that of the 20-year-old Pennsylvania man who attempted to assassinate former President Trump, signed up online to attend the Trump rally on July 6th, a week before the shooting. That from a source familiar with the matter to ABC News, who says the individual signed up using an encrypted email address and cell phone number. Ultimately, the building the suspect fired from was outside the security perimeter, but was fewer than 400 feet from the podium where Trump was speaking. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Well, so far, no comment from the FBI on that. We are hearing about a post on the gaming platform Steam, in which he may have written, July 13 will be my premiere. Watch as it unfolds. Investigators working to determine whether that post is legit. As you've been hearing, our top story on 1010 Wins, a massive IT outage causing problems for airlines, banks, stores, hospital, and more.
Sorry about the glare and the blurriness that it causes on the screen. I know the video is not that great, but the star here is the news.
All right, so tell us how the city is impacted by this.
All right, so as it stands right now, as you can imagine, like many of the places, there are impacts, but our most critical systems are not impacted. 911, 311, our emergency, all of our emergency systems, including some of our most critical, like traffic and water management, none of those things are impacted, but like many others, other systems that's received this update have had some mild and significant impacts.
So what do you mean specifically? Like city agencies, people just can't get into their email? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so the impact can be as simple as email, or it could be more complex, like licensing and permitting systems that may have mild impacts, where users trying to get in from the outside may have impacts getting in from the web. But we're currently under the efforts to take a full catalog of impact, and we're on our road. Started our road to recovery.
So I'm seeing here that cops and firefighters, they can get their radio dispatch, but they can't use their department cell phones. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so as it stands right now, 911 operations, as many know, 911 operations, the primary means of communication is the radio. So as it stands, calls coming into the call center are not impacted, and radio dispatch and communication from the field through radio is not impacted. Cell phones and other related technologies that are dependent on some systems in the background, there's some mild impacts to those. Like I said, but the most critical things for those operations are not impacted at all.
All right, so could this impact like mass transit in any way, the subways? Is that, pardon my naivete about the technology?
No worries. So as you see in many fronts, like on public transit, things like the display boards and other types of technology that are non-essential, there are impacts to those things. But our most critical services in terms of routing and like train management, bus management, like those things, as reported by the MTA, are operational. So there's no impact on those fronts as yet.
So
as reported by the MTA.
So describe to us like what you guys do. Like I know I've done computer updates on my computer, and then I get that dreaded black screen and you freak out. So when that happens to you guys, I mean, what do you think immediately? Because I would imagine the first thing is, are we being attacked? What's going on here? So what happened at like 1 a.m, when this happened?
Yeah, so the impact started to happen around midnight. Between midnight and 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time is when the majority of these updates were deployed. And as you mentioned, we have New York City Cyber Command, which operates 24/7. When we started to notice impacts and we started to get calls, our natural instincts are to assume that there's an incident until we prove that it isn't. And in this case, we were fortunate in the sense that there was no cyber event, but it was an event caused by our third-party provider. So in this case, the moment that we discovered that, we got them on the line, and we also got our other partners on the line, and we started working diligently toward the fix.
All right, so it's just a bad update. We want to stress that, right?
Yeah, I mean, saying just a bad update is underserving. I mean, it's significant. significant update.
Right.
This is not something that you would commonly see, and the scale of this failure is not something that we've seen in the recent past.
All right, NYC Chief of Technology Officer Matthew Frazier. If there's anything more that happens, we certainly look forward to talking to you again. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, 67 degrees. It is mostly sunny. The humidity is 64%. And the winds are north at 8 miles an hour. Later today, it's going to be really nice. Mostly sunny, less humid, and 84 degrees. All right, how about some fun news on 1010 Winds? In fact, some adorable fun at the Bronx Zoo. Yeah, that's right. A baby kangaroo is now ready to greet his fans. This rare tree kangaroo was born at the end of December, but has remained behind the scenes until now. These animals labeled as endangered, actually, back in 1996, with less than 2,500 in the wild. The Wildlife Conservation Society says that is because of rainforest habitation, as well as hunting and other human-caused problems. If and when you do head to the zoo, this little guy and his mom are at the Jungle World exhibit. The Shark Watch continues this summer. They spotted one yesterday, in fact, about 100 yards off of Hewlett Point Beach. And so it was everybody out of the water for about an hour.
Sorry about the long video, but these are historic times.
In Hewlett Bay since last weekend, the 6th off Long Island in the past week. Mayor Adams told 1010 Winds yesterday he would be meeting with a city council member charged with biting a cop during a protest over a men's shelter in Bensonhurst. She says she's the victim.
A large crowd of supporters at a senior center cheered Councilwoman Susan Zhuang, who said she was aiding an elderly protester who had fallen to the ground when she was grabbed by the neck from behind.
And then one police officer pulling my hair, another officer grabbed my neck.
Zhuang accused the officers who handcuffed her of using excessive force.
Police brutality is wrong. The misuse of enforcement is wrong.
She also accused the NYPD of mistreating the AAPI community. Zhuang did not take questions and did not comment on the bite to Deputy Chief Frank Giacomo's arm. Marla Diamond, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM in Bensonhurst.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Sorry for the long episode, but I feel these are historic times and I want to document as much as I can. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Driving in the News, documenting history, and we'll see you on the next one.